Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another Top 10 Tuesday episode. This is week 88, I believe. And for this week, I'm going to be doing a little thing called You Can't Judge a Flick by Its Cover. Now, I got two ways of doing this that, of course I'll get into that when I proceed with the films. But it's pretty self-explanatory. This one just... you just can't judge a film by its cover. So, without further ado, let's get right into this. First up here, from 1983, is a film called A Night to Dismember. Now, this one right here has pretty cool cover art, man. Really awesome cover art. It's something that would totally kind of catch your eye and go, it's simplistic, kind of cheesy, but, it catches your attention enough that you might want to check it out, especially with a name like A Night to Dismember. But the problem is, this movie really sucks. It's really, really bad. It's one of the worst slasher films I have probably ever seen in my entire life. It's horrible. I still need to check out the commentary with the director, Doris Wishman. Apparently, it is super funny, and I've actually read people's thoughts on the commentary, and it says it's pretty funny. So, but this movie's so bad. It's just bad on every level. Just every technical level of filmmaking, it's awful. I've seen shot on video films that are better than this. Yeah, it's even got like weird voiceovers when explaining the plots. It's atrocious. It's really atrocious. So this is kind of what I mean by you can't judge a flick by its cover. Really cool cover art, shitty ass film. Night to Dismember. Yeah, I've not really numbered these. I guess I'll just break them down the way they are, but yeah, if you want to say number 9, but they're not really ranked or anything. Yeah, so from 2016 and 15, however you want to say it, Frankenstein. Really, really shitty cover art on this film. This is the Canadian release, so it has terrible cover art. But in fact, this movie is really good. Again, you can't judge a film by its cover sometimes. You just never know what you're going to get. This is a really cool modern day telling of the Frankenstein story. Set, of course, in modern Los Angeles, I believe. It's not a perfect film. It does kind of falter in the end with some really shoddy CG and stuff. But overall, mostly the effects are practical and good acting, good story. It's got really cool characters, and it's just got a really cool setting on how they did this and stuff. I think it's really kind of unique. But yeah, Frankenstein, modern day telling, very, very cool stuff. Again, shit cover art, but very, very cool film. So yeah. Next up here, we got one from 1980, and it is another slasher film called The Forest. Now, I love this cover art. It's just fantastic. I mean, if you saw this in the movie store or wherever, I mean, wouldn't you just want to blind buy that in a second? Of course you would. It's fantastic cover art. But in fact, this movie sucks donkey dicks. It is terrible. This is a really, really shitty, kind of like supernatural, strange, very cliched type slasher film about a bunch of people that are in the forest, of course, and they're getting picked off in these strange ways and stuff. It's really poorly made. It's not very exciting, but the odd thing, it does have this really weird charm about it, that it's like so bad it's bad, but minorly decent, if that makes any sense. But yeah, The Forest, it's not good, but yeah, again, man, great cover art, total shit film. So yeah, right there. Next up here, we got a film from, I think this was from 2013 or 14 it came out, and it is called Poker Night. Now, this was released in the US under the Macabre label. This is the Canadian release from Raven Banner, and this cover art is shit. The American release cover art's way better. This is kind of like this modern floating heads, in my opinion, with putting the heads on the cards. But it's a pretty cool film, man. It's, more of a thriller. I guess it's horror film thriller. Basically about this young cop that gets abducted by this character up here. And he's kind of forced to use all this information that he's obtained from playing poker with all these older police officers and stuff. Very, very cool premise. And it's smart. It's a smart film. It's really cool, actually. But to be honest, man, if I saw this in a store, not really knowing anything about it, I'd probably pass on it. It looks like shit. Like, it just looks freaking terrible. But again, can't judge a film by its cover. And here's a perfect example, Poker Night. It's a very, very fun film. So yeah. Next up here, this is probably going to be controversial because I know a lot of people do like this film, but I just became not a fan of it. I used to not praise this film, but I used to say I was a big fan. But from 1996, William Lustig's Uncle Sam. Always love this cover art. I think the cover art's very eye-catching. It's poppy. It just kind of works for what it is. But this movie, upon rewatching it for the 1996 show that we're going to be doing on the podcast in a little bit, is really boring and shitty. The storyline is terrible in this film. In fact, it doesn't even make sense. I mean, there's no reason why this little kid's Uncle Sam comes back from dying in the Gulf War to basically take out I don't know, certain people because they're not that patriotic or whatever. But the reason why he comes back is just not there. But the major problem in this film is that it just drags. It drags on a lot, and there's just a lot of filler in this film. Not really. I mean, there's a couple decent kills and stuff, but overall, it's just kind of a stinker. It's super boring. It's not great. It's definitely Lustig's worst film, but love the cover art though. Good stuff. Next up here is one from, I think, 98, 99 or something like that. And it's called Colobus. Really shit cover art on this, man. Again, another film that looks a little misleading, to be honest. It kind of looks more of like a creature feature type deal. But this is more of a slasher film and has kind of a generic storyline of this girl that kind of wins her way into this house where they're doing this experimental film, this kind of network thing. Of course, the people get trapped inside this house, the doors are locked, and they start getting picked off by a certain person, by this masked individual. I know it sounds a little generic, but it's really well done. It's actually pretty well executed. Pretty exciting film, but again, cover art, just terrible. Terrible, look at that shit. It's awful. I have the UK DVD release of it too. The cover art's a little bit better, but not much. I think they probably could have came up with something a little better than that, but Colobus, check it out. Really cool film. Next up here, from Dark Sky Films, 2011, is a film called Hyperthermia. Now, this is the reverse art, but this is fantastic. I mean, look at this cover art. Just fucking awesome. It screams 80s. It totally screams 80s. And, yeah, this one isn't the worst film in the world. It just kind of falls super flat for me. Starring Michael Rooker, basically takes his family out to do some ice fishing. Some obnoxious family members show up and stuff, and then of course they start getting picked off by this monster that comes out of the water. It's pretty much a dude in a rubber suit, which, you know, used to bother me a little bit. It doesn't really bother me too much, but I just find the overall film isn't really that great. I don't know. I find Michael Rooker isn't that great in this film. It feels like he's just kind of forcing his acting and stuff. And for such a short film at 73 minutes, you think it'd be a little more exciting, but I don't know, man. I don't find this one. There's a couple decent parts in this, but it's not the greatest film in the world. Definitely the cover art exceeds the film itself. So, yeah, Hyperthermia. Good artwork. Shit film. Next up is a Pete Walker film from 1978, and it's called The Comeback. Man, is this cover art ever shitty that Redemption used. Fuck, is it bad. The Shriek Show DVD art was so much better than this. Just awful. And it is a slasher film, pretty much. Basically about this guy that's on a comeback. He's a singer-songwriter type deal, and he's on a comeback dealing with the death of his wife, and he starts having all these crazy visions. Things start going crazy, people start getting picked off, and of course, yeah. So during his comeback, and man, give me a break with this cover art. It's just atrocious. It looks so bad. I'll never forget when this movie got announced. I couldn't fucking believe that this was the same movie that the Shriek Show had put out with their cover art. Yeah, that's atrocious, man. That's just really, really bad. Actually, in fact, a lot of the Redemption cover arts aren't the greatest, but yeah, that one is atrocious for a good film. So yeah, next up here is one that was released last year, and it is called Morbid. This is done by Chuck Connery. He's actually the guy has a website called zombiesdon'trun.com, and his YouTube channel is of the same name. Now, I really like Chuck, man. He's a really cool guy. I watch his reviews all the time. I never really comment, but I do watch his reviews all the time. I find him intriguing the way he reviews stuff. But he seems like a very nice and genuine guy. With that said, man, I'll just be honest, man. I really did not care for this movie whatsoever. I find the cover art to be very refreshing. It's cool, man. It's kind of that 80s type cover art. Flashy. I mean, that's going to catch anyone's eye, right? But as a film, I could not get into this one bit. I found most of the characters to be super, super annoying. Just really, the comedy was not for me. It was just too comedic. Just not enough real good elements to it for myself. But Yeah, man, Morbid. Look at that cover art; it's fantastic. And Wild Eye's notorious for putting out these type of films with really cool cover arts and just being atrocious films. But yeah, Morbid. And last up here, we got one from 2000 and I want to say 12 or 13 or something like that. And it's called No One Lives. Now, I hate this cover art. When I first saw this film get announced, I really thought it was actually an action film. I had no idea what it was. And someone told me it was a horror film, kind of like a revenge type deal. And I was like, oh, okay, I gotta check that out because I love revenge shit. And yeah, it's a fucking awesome film. Shitty cover art, awesome film. Yeah, basically about this group of people that abduct this guy and his girlfriend. And what they don't know is that this guy is a fucking mastermind killer. And shit goes real bad for the abductors. And yeah, it's just a fucking full-blown awesome film. I love this shit. It was great. Watched a few times, but I'm telling you, man, that cover art does not do anything for me. It just... wow, I really do not like that at all. So that is going to do it for this top 10 list of do not, or you can't judge a film by its cover. Yeah. Quick little recap on the films. Night to Dismember, Frankenstein, The Forest, Poker Night, Uncle Sam, Colobus, Hyperthermia, The Comeback, Morbid, and No One Lives. But yeah, definitely give Colobus a shot. It's really, really good, man. I really enjoy that film. I've recommended it to certain people, and they've got back to me and they said they loved it. So if you haven't checked it out, check it out. Pretty cool 90s stuff right there. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for week 88 here on the Top 10 Tuesday series. And as usual, peace out, homies. Yeah.